Guess who's back in the house? Heels click clack in a bound. Fine, fresh, feminine, child to 11. I'm divine, so heavenly, gentlemen, sweating, it's down, across the board, no doubt. Body like wow, she about to get in this trap. Titty so plentiful, mission queen, Jezebel should be criminal. Don't make sense for a bitch to be listening now. Rock to the sound, what is that sound? Watch me drop it to the ground. Rock for the four, drop to the floor. Add up the 10 to get the score. I've been that bitch, yes, I love that. Fishy, feminine, up and coming. From the Clintons to the Obamas, I keep it tight. Now they call me mother. Jaded cream bitch, I love that drama. Fishy, feminine, up and coming. From the Clintons to the Obamas, I keep it tight. Now they call me mother. Honey, but I count my money with the rap, neck to the neck, I'm back with a freaky money click, clack, ow. Get back, neck to the neck, I'm back with a freaky money click, clack, They know my name because I'm on another echelon. It's automatic, supersonic, I'm a Sassatron. And I ain't looking up to anyone, the cam's alone. And I'm ready, shake the jelly when the dance sound. The kind of queen that all the fellas make a fancy on. I'm only getting out of bed for 20 million. I get your camera phone, cause in a minute I'm about to be on. Here I'm back, oh shit, but I get the 12, that's the bread I'm crossing. Blood to cross, she's the big shot crossing. Over. None of these bitches is country like this. Plucking these chickens, I'm plucking they do. Running my business is both coming through. Where I step in, you know well what it do. Y'all know well what it do. None of these bitches is fucking with me. Running my business is don't even witness. When I step in, they know well what it do. When I step in, they know well what it do. Yeah, bitch, she done already done had her. She been done had hers. Honey, but I count my money with the rap, neck to the neck, I'm back with a freaky money click like ow. Get back. Honey, but I count my money with the rap, neck to the neck, I'm back with a freaky money click like ow.
What's going on, Conscious Crew? So sorry for the wait. One of my niggas stopped by to show me pictures of him and his girlfriend's baby girl. She went into like early labor, and the child is gorgeous, okay? And he wanted me to see and to bless the baby. So I had to do all of that, and he literally came like 10 minutes before I was about to go live. Like, he always catch me in my drawers. So, like, I think he's a vibrational match to my drawers, because I'm always like half naked or in the middle of transitioning from nakedness to fully clothed, and then he pulls his ass up, okay? So they just brought a brand new light-skinned, melanated child into the world, girl, with gray eyeballs, who's about to raise holy hell, okay? And I'm totally here for it. Then I hopped on Instagram. But what's going on, you guys? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. We don't typically do Saturdays. I'm not a Saturday streamer, but I figured I'd go ahead and give y'all this live stream, and we're going to be going live next to get into a whole. It's messy. I don't even. Girl, it's messy. Okay. That whole Rocky, Bivin, Latasha, Tamika, Escape, that shit is messy boots to the ground, honey. Like, I ain't seen no shit like that ever since Kibi Studios fell apart, girl, and all the employees came flocking to my platform. Okay? trying to get indictments and shit against each other, girl. Okay, that shit is messy. So we got to get into some things here. Then we got to go live right after this live stream, and then I got some company coming over at 7. We're gonna be chilling. It's just one of my witchery friends. We're probably gonna run naked underneath the moonlight and shit. Okay, get into some occultic shit. And then tomorrow morning, I'm filming my new intro, and my videographer will be here first thing smoking. So I'll probably be tired and caught up. It won't be able to do a Sunday live. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and go live and get into some things with my people on this Saturday. I know y'all ain't got shit to do. Half of y'all divorced, just came out of COVID, pregnant with triplets. Your boyfriends are with their actual wives, you know. So I know a lot of y'all got time, honey. Okay. So we're here on this beautiful Saturday. Hope you guys are feeling well. Before we get deep off into it, girl, y'all already know what I need y'all to do. Thumbs up, up this video until it is stuck. You know that thumb it up helps with the YouTube algorithm, because these whores only send out notifications to 10% of a bitch's subscriber count, girl. But when y'all thumbs up until it's stuck, okay, Miss YouTube does her motherfucking job. Okay. Also, you got to hit that old nasty piece of subscription button, girl. Shout out to the 43K. We're on to 43.1, 44, 47, then 50K, and on up until it's stuck. Okay, also make sure that you have your notification bell set to all, because you never know when the day or hour the king shall be kinging. And please share these streams out to wherever it is you have digital community at, girl. Okay, with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, how you guys? Yes, Phyllis, run through and under the moon butt naked, because I have been really neglecting some of my spiritualness, okay? And that probably explains a lot of the poltergeist activity I've been experiencing, girl. It's been a lot of crazy shit going on my property, in my home. Like, I've been having the covers ripped back off my head, girl. It's been like a lot of synchronicities and motherfuckers calling my name and shit, girl. So I know when spirit get that active and the supernatural start, you know, being paranormal and shit, is because, you know, like it's a calling back to the altar, honey. Okay, so so I got to get into some spiritual things tonight, honey. We got to set it off and get deep off into that mystical shit. Okay, so one of my friends who's a spiritualist, y'all know who Cosmic Noir J is, child. He's the South's deep hoodoo doctor. He's also a prophet. And you know, whenever I need to move mountains and I need to combine my mutant powers with somebody else, we come together and co-create, okay, in the multiverse. And I will be having a little nasty piece of hair review for you guys, okay? So all of this is coming to an upload near you, so just stay tuned, okay? So we are here because y'all favorite Trans-Mammy, Flame Monroe, recently did a sit-down interview with King Hotep Rizza Islam, okay? And it was about an hour long. I saw it in my algorithm, and I decided to click on it. And I already knew it was going to be trash, but let me just say this before I even start, okay? We're going to review, you know, the interview a little bit. When it comes to Flame, like, I think Flame seems to be a likable individual, down to earth, fun, lighthearted, outside of when she opens her motherfucking mouth as it relates to the community, okay? And every time Flame goes to speak, because I'm a very open-minded person, I really do try to put myself in people's shoes. I really try when Flame goes to speak. Like, I really try. I always go in saying, okay, look, let me just listen, there gots to be something I can appreciate. Flame has to be offering something that I can really, really, really appreciate, okay? And that never fucking happens. And this interview was no different than all the others that were pointless as it relates to the plight of queer people, okay? Now, before we get into some of the sound bites and go kind of scourging through and suffering through this interview, I also want to say that I understand why Flame is likable amongst the dominant society, and it's because she coons the fuck out, okay? Just like black people have their overseers and their coons, we have our tap dancers and our coons as well in the LGBT community. And Flame is one of those trans-mammies, okay? She really minimizes the issues that are articulated by her own queer community in an attempt to placate to the fragile comfortability of the privileged community, okay? She says everything they dare not to. She agrees with everything that they agree to, and therefore, of course, she's always met with rave reviews amongst her own oppressors, okay? So whenever you see Flame in straight spaces, do not be shocked that she is cheerleaded and the comments are, I love you, I love you, I love you, because dominant societies love pick-me-shas of all kinds, okay? They just love them, okay? Dominant societies loves the sellouts of the minority communities, okay? And I'm just going to speak my piece as it relates to some of the things that were touched on in this interview. And I'm going to drop the link as well. I'm going to allow you guys to come up and tell me what you guys think about whatever is said here today and just about Flame in general, okay? So yeah, let's proceed, okay? Now, hold on. Oh, I'm gonna have to put this up here, girl. Okay, now once again, Rizza Islam has a YouTube channel. Called Rizza Islam. What is this? Rizza Islam Intellectual Extremist 3. Okay, and because he don't got the kahunas and the ball sacks to just be a proud and loud homophobe, he brought on a trans woman who could do it for him. Okay, because y'all know we live in this era where the racists they want to be racist but don't want to be labeled racist. The misogynists want to be misogynistic but don't want to be called sexist, okay? The homophobes want to homophobe but they don't want to be called homophobe, okay? Everybody want to live the definition but nobody wants to wear the crown and the title thereof. It's a very strange spirit in the land, okay? So what you guys are about to hear in this soundbite is they get into a conversation, of course, about Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union, and Zaya Wade, okay? Y'all know they have been talking points ever since Zaya came out as queer and then came out as trans, okay? And, Flame did say that she agrees and appreciates the fact that Gabrielle, the stepmother, she kept emphasizing stepmother. And it was almost like this, like she had like a issue somehow, like, because stepmother was said like kind of in a condescending way, as if some part of her, while she's giving Gabrielle praises, also believes that Gabrielle may be overstepping her boundaries. I don't know what the tea is. I know that Gabrielle Union gets a bad rep for whatever reason. As a stepmother, a lot of people feel like she needs to stay in her place. Let me tell you something about the place, bitch. As long as Zaya Wade lives in Gabrielle's actual fucking place, she has full fucking creative fucking control. Okay? She has full creative, collaborative, say so, influence, etc. And a child that she had to inherit that lives in her home that spends her motherfucking money, that eats her motherfucking food, sleeps on her motherfucking couch, and walks her motherfucking hallways, okay? So as long as that's where Zaya got her Wade ass at, is under Miss Gabrielle's place, Gabrielle Union is in her place, okay? Now, when Zaya is in her biological mammy's place, then, you know, she's on fair ground. You know, she's in mother's house, okay? But when she's in Gabrielle's house, baby, Gabrielle is in her place, okay? Nonetheless, okay, I don't know what this issue is with step parents getting dragged all of a sudden. That's weird, girl. Okay? So they get into that, and she says she appreciate Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade giving Zaya, you know, space to be herself, to self-actualize, etc., because obviously that is something, especially in the melanated community, that a lot of queer people, particularly trans individuals, have not been afforded, is a affirming space where their parents are making a genuine attempt to understand them and give them some room to figure things out as a young adult coming up in the role, okay? So listen to her statements regarding Zaya Wade.
Stop. Yes. And the internet has catapulted to something else.
Yes.
So don't get angry at everybody for having their opinion. I just put a blog up on my Instagram page.
Wait, I want to go back to that.
For having an opinion. When you open your blast, stepmother.
Okay, oh, here it is.
Gabrielle Union. Multiply, add, divide, and subtract the situation, because I'm about to multiply, add, divide, and subtract.
Gotcha.
I want to first commend Dwayne Wade and Zaya's, respectfully, stepmother, Gabrielle Union, for giving that child a safe place to call home. Definitely. Because when I was a kid, my mom didn't accept the gay and the trans. I was every sissy and faggot and don't switch and don't act like a guy. So the fact, and the world is.
So I love how, even though Flame is about to completely get her full, she's about to enter into a full-blown mammification in this interview, how she didn't realize how she inadvertently also just admitted that transphobia is real, that queerphobia is real, and that she would not have even had the privilege of living in a affirming, educated household with parents who would have lended their genuine humanity toward this phenomenon happening within her. Even though she's about to get the caping and capping like a motherfucker, and she's about to get to, you know, shucking and goddamn jiving, okay? She inadvertently just admitted that the very thing later on in the interview she's going to really kind of minimize, which is transphobia, actually is really real and pervasive, and she can even 100% confidently say that her own parents would not have dared, okay, to give her the space to be her. Even though she about to cape and act like the world is okay with queer people, the world is okay with trans folk, even though she just admitted in that little talking piece right there that it's really not.
Already mean. So the fact that they have provided this kid with a safe place at home to be whoever she expresses herself to be, I commend that. Now, here's the other side. Here's the backside. Y'all want to get angry at everybody for having an opinion. When you open your blinds, people look through your windows. Y'all publicly put that child on public display. Nobody else did that. So don't get angry with, because the court of public opinion will never fail. And will never stop.
Yes.
And the internet has catapulted to something else.
Yes.
So don't get angry at everybody for having their opinion. I would just put a blog up on my Instagram page because it.
Okay, now she better go into something else. But before she do, so she's going on and on about how Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade don't need to get angry at the opinion of the public, but Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade have really not really showed any anger per se. Okay, they've participated in answering questions in interviews regarding Zaya's transition and her transgenderism, etc. But I would not hardly say that Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade stay windmilling or stay talking shit and clapping back. But I also find it to be completely hypocritical that people love to say, whether it's trans mammies like Flame, or whether it's the dominant society, love to say, well, queer people want to be so accepted, and the LGBT community, you know, they want to be respected, but they never, ever, 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 ever respect, you know, our opinion. But Flame just said everyone has a right to their opinion. So queer people get to have a fucking opinion about your opinion about them. Queer people don't have to lay down and just move the fuck around and go into hiding when it comes to the talking points of the church or the talking points of society. Queer people get to be fucking opinionated as well. Queer people get to speak to the narratives that are projected onto them, whether that's under the guise of religion, or whether that's under the guise of social taboos, or whatever the dominant society uses as a justification to smear LGBT's existence. Queer people get to speak to that, right? Because we all have a fucking opinion, okay? I can have an opinion about your fucking opinion, okay? What people like this trans mammy and the dominant society really are asking queer people to do, asking queer women, queer men to do, is to not have a problem with the fact that I hate you. Do not have an issue with my dehumanizing ideology and rhetoric against you. I want you to forsake standing up for yourself so that I can exist in my indignant ass privilege and speak and perpetuate intellectual, spiritual, sometimes even physical violence against you without any accountability. What the dominant society is asking the LGBT community to do is to not say anything to the voice, provide no feedback, provide no review, provide no alternative, do not show up, only listen with the intent to conform, but don't you dare oppose or speak to said plight. When is that ever going to happen? And my whole thing is, why is this exception and why is this only acts of LGBT people? Because if we're going to take that logic, right, that everybody is entitled to an opinion, and even if that opinion is abusive, even if that opinion is oppressive, even if that opinion is ignorant and fear-mongering and actually impacts the people who are being talked about in real, measurable ways, if we're going to use that same logic, that I'm entitled to my abusive, oppressive opinion, why isn't we don't tell the Black community to do the same thing? Why is it you don't hear these same Black mammies and pappies saying, hey, the pale race has a right to their opinion. They have a right to think that you originated out of the wombs of gorillas. They have a right to think that you're inferior. They have a right to think that you're dirty and you're hood and you're violent and you are inherently ignorant and need to be domesticated. They have a right. Leave the pale race to their right to be racist. Lead them to that. Why is it that it's always LGBT folk who have to lay down, roll over, take everything, shut up, be unheard, be unseen, and respect other people's hate towards them, but no other minority fucking group has to do that? The mammies of the community will sit there and speak against misogyny, but you don't hear those other women saying, hey, just like we're telling queer people to lay down and to take their oppression, y'all need to lay down and take y'all's. Give men the right to be misogynistic and sexist. No, boo. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not even opposed to opinion, right? I'm not opposed to opinions. I'm not opposed to people who have oppositional rhetoric and bullshit to say regarding other people's freedom and autonomy and existence and identity. But my issue is queer people, just like black people, just like women's people, cannot simply leave the conversation at this is just your opinion, because if it was, we wouldn't have legislation being passed right now to reverse permits for same-sex marriage. If that were the case, we wouldn't have anti-LGBT laws and legislation being passed in states all across this country, Florida being a big ass one. The problem is it's not left as just an opinion. That opinion is then converted and transmuted into laws, into legislations, and institutionalized. And sometimes the slander, depending on what minority community you belong to, is so egregious. The genre is so fear-mongering that people who are not well in their minds and cannot separate their opinion from your civil right decide to use that fear as a way to harass you, to bully you, and to commit said hate crimes against you. The fact that the dominant society's opinion is converted into laws that are designed to objectively impact the lives of said minority communities, whether that's black people, whether that's women, whether that's queer people, etc., that's not a fucking opinion, bitch. You are literally attempting to actually get in my way physically. You are actually attempting to bleed and blur and have your opinion roll over into my existence in ways that now make your opinion my fucking reality. And you don't get a right to do that and get away with it. If you think you're going to turn your opinion into a factuality and think that there's not going to be an insurrection by those minority communities against those powers and forces that are attempting to dominate their lives, you are the one who got it fucked up. Because you should always, in that case, then expect LA to be looted, to expect Ferguson to be blown to smithereens. You should always then expect the country to be in fucking ruins. You get to have your opinion, but you don't get to make your opinion my reality. And the sad and fucked up part about this is, right, I'm a grown ass, melanated, two-spirited individual. I have the luxury of cutting every toxic motherfucker out of my life, existing in spaces by choice, and choosing where I am and what I do. But it's the trans and queer and LGBT youth that we're really fighting for. Because those LGBT youths are subjected to households and parents who are traumatizing them, who are psychologically warring against them, who have intended to not understand, to misunderstand, and then to use their religious bullshit as a justification to be numb and to be shallow and cold toward their child's experience that they know nothing of and have no intention to be educated about. And then to make matters worse, when those LGBT youth have no choice and have no safety, have no space to be authentic in, to have a voice in, to speak their pain to, they run to the school system. And do you know what the oppressive, dominant society does? Say, bitch, you're not going to give my teenager, you're not going to give my young person any space to be authentic in. You better not teach that shit. You better not put it in the books. You better not cover the topic. You better not cover the history. You better not make any healthy fucking space for this child who I'm committed to not understanding, who I'm committed to making my own personal chia pet, that I'm committed to forcing my ideology into and onto. You're not going to give that motherfucker any room to see outside of the box that I'm going to force them in until they get old enough to pay their own motherfucking bills. And then those same motherfucking parents want to go run to fucking Jesus when they walk into the goddamn bedroom and see that LGBT youth hanging from the goddamn vent on the ceiling, are found dead in the bedroom closet from a fucking overdose. And now all of a sudden you want to have a road to Damascus experience. And you want to be transformed, and now want to use the rest of your life to helping other ignorant ass parents to get out of their own way. No, boo. The price is too high at that point. It took these children to lose their life or be subjected to bullying that drives them to taking their life for you to now wake up. That is fucked up and evil as hell. And the fact that your wisdom has to come at the price of another person's life. Oh, boo. Yeah, we got to have these confrontations. Yeah, we do. Because queer people are not bringing themselves into the world. They're being brought into the world. They're not asked to come here. It's not fair that any minority persons, but since we talking about LGBT, has to inherit this fucked up ass world. And then to penalize and punish people who exist in ways that are different from you is wild, even under the guise and psychology of being a parent. And now we got all these traumatized ass adults reliving their childhood trauma, because now we know that a lot of what our parents, a lot of the abuse our parents perpetuated in many ways against us, they justified under the guise of my parental right. It's time to break the fucking cycle. So when I have these conversations, I'm not having these conversations really for people like me, because I'm grown. Okay? And I'm licensed to carry, baby, and I use very easily. Miss Beretta Scott King. Okay? But being a young LGBT teenager and young person who was also subjected to religiosity and subjected to the church, who could not control my reality, I was subjected to the ideologies of my parents. Yeah, I have to thank God today, even at 37 years of age, because I was supposed to be a Black queer person who should have not been here today. Most of my youth and teenage years, I spent living this close to the brink of death because I was miserable. Spent years this close to the fine line, baby. So I know what it's like to be a young person subjected to everybody else's narratives and being force-fed the agenda of conformity. I'm gracious and blessed to be here today. But I'm here today by the hair on my chinny chin, motherfucking chin, baby. Oh, yes, I am. So, everybody gets to have their opinion. But you don't get to dictate other people's lives. And when it comes to other people's lived experience, you should really actually shut the fuck up and realize there's a time for your opinion, and then there's a time for you to listen and be educated by somebody else's lived experience. Which is why I appreciate Iyanla saying hey, I don't understand the trans thing. You know, all I know is the basics. Man, woman. You know, it's not my lived experience to have a judgment about. That's a very humbling attitude. One that many people should adopt. Is when it's not your experience, do less of this and double up on this. Like the old folk used to say, you got one mouth and two ears so you can listen twice as hard. Okay? But let's continue on, Gworllll.
Going after Sommore to say that Sommore is transphobic. I personally know Sommore. Sommore has loved the gay kids and supported the trans entertainers, male and female, for 25 years. She made a joke that Zaya is a boy. FYI, Zaya is a boy. She is a boy. I'm going to say respectfully, she is a boy. And that's not no dig or no read, but we live in a country where you can identify and live freely how you want to without all of this harboring. If you stop bringing the attention to yourself, sometimes you throw out a fish line and you bring it to you. That's true. I'm not inviting negativity into my DNA. And if I don't like you, you will know I don't like you because I'm going to say it. Right. I thought that when they were on I love what Dwayne Wade said about his daughter publicly, but was it necessary is the question. She knows how you feel about her. Yes. Who's the seal at the circus here looking for a sardine?
You know, I think it's funny how there's a conversation around Gabrielle and Dwayne choosing to go public about what they were dealing with when it came to Zaya, which I think is very commendable, because I believe Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade know that the Black community is very ignorant and are light years behind when it comes to the subject of gender, specifically, even more so than sexuality, gender, okay? And I think, and I love the fact that Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade were able to say, hey, this is probably going on in a lot of Black households. And a lot of Black people are probably dealing with this one way, which is out of fear and out of ignorance. So let us show our community that there's an alternative. There's another way to deal with this phenomenon. That it's okay to actually listen to this young person. It's okay to give them a voice in their existence, because they realize too, they're not trans. So how can they act as the authority over something that's not their lived experience? How can they? Okay. And then from there, I also think it's intentional when the dominant society constantly hijacks the conversation. And matter of fact, I think she's going to say it. Let me let it play.
When Gabby got on with all of this, I'm a Black trans woman for more than 30 years. I was going to ask, you have the experience. But as a Black trans woman, I know what it is, and I know what comes with this. And when I was on the Breakfast Club, I said, when this whole controversy hit, I said, as long as they don't give that child hormone blockers or female testosterone at this age, because some things you cannot take back. I'm cool with them allowing her to express who she is and be what she wants to be. But y'all, they're getting angry at everybody because everybody's not on the train. I do not feel like Black trans women of color or trans women of color are under this certain attack. I think sometimes some of us, not all.
I think it's the audacity of Trans-Mammy to talk about not agreeing with hormone blockers and this, that, and the third, while she's got more damn junk stuffed in her than Sanford and Son's front yard. This bitch got damn tricycle parts and shit injected into her damn body, talking about what another trans woman should and should not be allowed to do. I just think it's funny that a motherfucker can come on with implants in every part of their motherfucking body talking about another bitch should not indulge, should not, be given, should not. And then she wonder why she around here looking like a damn refurbished ass scarecrow. I'm just trying to make it make damn sense. And I think it's also very intentional that people always insert the hormone conversation and the sexual reassignment situation when it comes to Zaya Wade, because even that's a fear-mongering tactic. This family has in no way, shape, or fucking form spoken to gender reassignment surgery, spoken about hormones, hormone blockers, estrogen, no nothing. And yet this is the narrative that's projected onto this family by the surrounding viewers. The head of the heterosexual, the head leader of the heterosexual community himself, Lil Boosie. Don't cut off her dick, man. A man who openly is obsessed with underage genitalia because he found it completely logical to get his underage son a sexual experience with a full-blown hooker and then pass the hooker around to the rest of his underage nephews. There has been no conversation about Zaya's genitalia. And to make it about that is just a way to trigger up the public who already is ignorant on gender and transgenderism, to get them to spout in their bullshit rather than to deal with the reality and the matter at hand. This is a trans woman who they put in therapy, who they're supporting, but also have boundaries in place. She is being allowed to show up in her gender identity and her gender expression as she. That doesn't require any hormone blockers. That doesn't require any sexual reassignment surgery, which can't even be had legally until Zaya is the age of 18. So why is there even a conversation about her genitalia? Why? Why? And then for the dominant society to complain about how the LGBT community are the ones who sexualize children when they're the ones always sexualizing the fucking children. Dwayne Wade posted a picture of Zaya Wade with her boyfriend. And they were giving each other a big smooch on the lips. Girl, the dominant society almost lost their motherfucking toupees and closures. There was damn near a damn boycott in the country because Zaya Wade put her teenage lips on the lips of her trans male boyfriend. And here it is, the conversation became muddled and smothered with, oh, this is inappropriate and she shouldn't be allowed to do this. And why are they letting these kids be sexual? Kissing is a form of affection. Kissing happens in all type of non-sexual contexts. There are parents who kiss their children on the lips. There are aunties who greet their nieces and nephews with kisses. There are grandparents and church mothers who greet with kissing and hugging. This is a teenage couple who are sharing a affectionate moment, and y'all have turned that into something fucking pornographic and then want to talk about queer people over-sexualizing and having an agenda toward fucking children. When the reason y'all got y'all children locked the fuck up and lodged the fuck up is because all you do is over-sexualize children in your mind. You ain't even baby, you won't even let the male cousins sleep in the same room with the female cousins because of how much over-sexualization you're doing. You won't even let the boys play with the girls because of how much over-sexualization you're doing. When I saw that picture between Zaya Wade and her boyfriend, I saw a kiss. I ain't see fucking. I ain't see sucking. I ain't see raunchy. I ain't see pornographic. I ain't see pussy popping. I ain't see none of that. I saw it for what it was, a motherfucking smooch. It ain't us, baby, who obsessed with the sexualization, the over-sexualization. Y'all the ones out here policing little girls and young women's skirts and dresses because every time you see their body, every time you see the length of their dress, what you do is sexualize all that. And once again, it's just the hypocrisy for me. Every time you tell that young lady she dressed scantily, she dressed provocatively, that's you being over-sexual. That's you sexualizing her. Every time you tell her to change her jeans because her buttocks is revealed in those tight form pants, you are over-sexualizing. Every time you feel her cleavage, too much cleavage, you're doing the over-sexualization. All I see is a motherfucker with clothes on. I'm also mature enough and self-aware enough to also know that every time somebody puts on clothes, regardless of how they fit, regardless of how form-fitting they are, that people actually get dressed for themselves, contrary to popular belief. There are plenty of times I walk out of my damn house, scantily dressed, bitch. Okay? Allegedly. And guess what? I'm scantily dressed for me. I like the way this waist looks in this. I like the way these thighs look in this. I like the way these biceps look in this shirt. I like the way. Contrary to popular belief, most motherfuckers who so-called dressing sexual actually don't want to be bothered with no fucking attention when they go out in public because they're dressed elegantly or sexy or dressed however the fuck they're dressed for their own admiration. My fucking friends get on me all the time because every time we out, you know, of course, I get a lot of fucking attention. People always running up to me for one reason or another. Oh, you must do hair. Can you do my hair? Can I touch your hair? Where you get that from? Oh, I love that. Can I touch you? And my friends think that I'm mean because I'm not saying I'm standoffish, but I don't get dressed for attention. I get dressed for me. I do all this for me. I don't give a fuck about how that's perceived. I'm not invested in whether motherfuckers love it or hate it. I don't give a damn because I'm going to wear what I want to wear regardless. Okay, I don't come out my house to experience fucking paparazzi. And I don't evade other people's space just because I think they're dressed interesting or beautifully or attractively. I don't even behave that way when I see shit I like. When I see motherfuckers rocking and rolling in public. They're like, you gonna dress this flamboyant and then be mad that you get all this attention? Yeah, bitch, I am. Have some goddamn decency and some fucking respect. I'm not dressed this way to be pulled the fuck up on. I'm dressed this way because, bitch, I enjoy what the outcome is. I enjoy the feeling and the mood of my clothes, of my aesthetic. Okay, and I'm very careful especially when it comes to women who are subjected to sexualization. It's almost non-existent for men. I don't recall ever growing up having to be policed as a dude. Long as I wasn't dressed like a punk, as that generation would call it. I don't recall ever having my body sexualized. I could walk out of the house in boxers. I mean, not boxers. I could walk out of the house in wife beaters. I could walk out of the house in any way, shape, or form. I feel sorry for women in this age. We kind of derailing the topic. I'm going to get back in a minute. I feel sorry for that because society has brought into this idea that when women show up in their bodies and dare their flesh be exposed through their clothing, that somehow means that the intent on the woman or the young lady is that she's seeking a certain type of attention. And y'all like to push that rhetoric and even inadvertently play into that, but then also fail to understand why then you also blame her for being sexually assaulted by someone, which is an even gross misnomer. It doesn't matter how a woman dress. We cannot teach this idea that women are responsible for being sexually assaulted. We cannot burden women with men's testosterone, men's sexuality, men's sexual proclivities. We cannot have women inherit that. We have to confront men about their barbaric sexuality that's in a state of fucking chaos every time a woman is behaving, dancing like, or dressed so-called provocative. As far as I'm concerned, there's really no such thing as fucking provocative. There's the body and there's movement. There's the body and there's clothing. And your interpretation of that is very telling about your psychology of that. I know women who will pop their push, shake their motherfucking ass in some Daisy Dukes and slap the fucking hell out of you. If you think that them dancing that way and dress like that is an invitation for you to put your goddamn stinking ass hands on them, it's not an invitation. People need to respect people accordingly. Period. And there's no fucking excuse to dehumanize nobody. You can't use the way they dress as an excuse to dehumanize them. You can't use the way they look to dehumanize them. You can't use their identity to dehumanize them. We out of control. Out of fucking control. Now, as it relates to Sommore, yeah, she wrong as fuck. Zaya Wade doesn't show up as he. Zaya Wade doesn't show up as him. Zaya Wade has changed her gender on her driver's license. She shows up and identifies as she and her. Her parents and her community respect it as such. And you need to respect it as such. I don't understand what it means to a lot of you queerphobic, transphobic ass motherfucking buffoons. Why y'all are so deeply fucking invested any fucking way about how another motherfucker shows up. And I just said this on my shit the other day. Y'all can call a bitch Lil Boosie. Y'all can call a motherfucker Cuda. Y'all can call a motherfucker Lil Wayne, Birdman. Y'all can learn and respect everybody else's motherfucking pronouns, bitch, with all these heathen, ghetto, criminal ass goddamn nicknames, and then want to get the trans women and act like all of a sudden, bitch, it's just too much work to do to treat a queen how the fuck a queen shows the fuck up. Shawty Low, motherfucking 2 Chainz, goddamn Sasha fucking Fist, bitch, y'all can learn and buy into and respect everybody else's motherfucking pronouns. But all of a sudden you confused about a motherfucker who also is giving you the visual representation of what they're asking you for. And all of a sudden, you got a comprehension issue. You ain't had a comprehension issue when Foxy wanted to be called Foxy Brown. When Puff Daddy done went through several goddamn pronouns, bitch. He done went from Sean, Diddy Combs, to P. Diddy, to Puff fucking Daddy, and back to goddamn Sean again. And y'all have adopted and every single motherfucking time without missing a beat, bitch. I don't want to hear that shit when it comes to trans women, bitch. All of a sudden now, it's just so educational, girl. It's just too much learning. It ain't nothing to learn. A motherfucker told you. A motherfucker reiterated it. A motherfucker then showed up as said pronoun. So I'm trying to understand what the fuck wrong with you. I'm trying to understand what the fuck your problem is with the way another motherfucker shows up. The people be like, oh, so it, because I heard, is it Morgan? It's that little white British man who got that show. And he was talking to a trans woman and he was like, so if I wanted to be if I wanted to identify as a black lesbian, then I should have the right to be called a black lesbian. And guess what, bitch? Fair is fair. If you think that's gonna gag me in conversation, it's not. You should be called a black lesbian. Bitch, I've had to grow up as a melanated person, growing up in a community that uses every other name but they fucking government. So I'm well conditioned to call a motherfucker how they want to be preferred to call. I'm well adapted and well equipped to call a motherfucker how they want to be referred to, baby. As a melanated, yeah, Piers Morgan, as a black motherfucking man raised up in the hoods and the ghetto and the black culture, baby. Everybody had a name but what they damn mama called them. Yeah, Prince done went from the artist, the formerly artist, the goddamn mystery to just not damn here. And y'all done got with it every single time. Miss me with the, this is too much, it's too many words, the book too thick, bitch. If you just dumb, say you dumb. If you didn't graduate, say you didn't graduate, boo. If you didn't make it past 7th grade curriculum, just say that. Stop hiding your dumbness behind the LGBT being complicated. If you stupid, bitch, just identify as stupid. It's that easy. It's that easy. And I don't know why these dumb motherfuckers don't want to identify as dumb. Because, bitch, I could never. But let's move along, girl.
Because there are people that will attack us just for being who we are.
Sure.
That you cannot get away from that.
Sure.
But to bring all of this, they're killing us, is not true. And what it is doing, it is putting a great cloud of doom that I don't even want to be affiliated with that, because I might get hurt in the process of just being around somebody like that. You cannot think that you can have it both ways. And so when she was doing all of that with the head and the acting, I'm like, is this an episode of Mary Jane? I'm looking at it like I'm thinking I'm watching an episode of Mary Jane, honestly. And that we're being attacked every day. That's not true.
Right.
I walk around, sometimes with makeup on, sometimes with makeup off, all the time. And I don't mean mug. I'm friendly to people. And I am not a passable trans woman. You know I'm not a woman. But sometimes I think it's the way you carry yourself.
The only reason why you can walk around flame Monroe without makeup on and not be passable, your own words, and not experience a hate crime is because you're the one spooking the public. You're the one scaring them, bitch. They worried about you committing a goddamn hate crime against they motherfucking asshole. Okay? That's why you get away, girl, with walking your goddamn puppies and shit down the sidewalks, girl, and you don't have to have an experience of such, baby. Okay? They're crossing the street to avoid you, Miss Mamas. Okay? You can't say just because some shit ain't happening to you that it ain't happening to everybody else, because what you never say when you're talking about yourself and using yourself anecdotally to speak to and for all other trans women. And see, Flame, if you let her tell it, she'll claim she don't do that. I only speak for me. But right here, you just heard her, right? Speak for everybody. Oh, I don't believe trans women as a whole are under any attacks because those attacks are not happening to me. And then she never does the work intellectually to really ask herself, well, why don't they happen to me? Could it be, Flame, that because you are a privileged trans comedian who's able to use your money to situate yourself in communities that are safe, in spaces that are safe, that is good reason why you may not experience the same level of violence that another non-passing trans woman of another or lower economic status is experiencing. You're not the trans woman in the hood. You're the trans woman behind the gated community. You're not the trans woman that has to commute on the 7th train and interact with low vibrational starving motherfuckers who just looking for some pussy and an extra blunt every day. You're the trans woman in your nice vehicle, driving to your professional gigs, traveling of quality and luxury. You're not the other trans women who are just everyday fucking women interacting with regular smegular society and sometimes the worst aspects of society because of their socioeconomic position in this country. Like, this, it's not hard to have self-awareness, right? People just want to occupy the fucking microphone and get to yabba dabba fucking doing. And then you literally hear this confused bitch talk out of both sides of her fucking neck. Because on one hand, she just admitted that the dominant society is fucking transphobic because she herself would not have been afforded to live in a home with parents like Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. Her mama would have offed her motherfucking head. Then you just also heard her say out of one end of her confused ass neck, I don't believe that happens. But then right before she says that, she says, bitch, of course there are people who are out there hurting trans women. Of course there are people who are out there hating. So bitch, which one is it? And then Rizza Islam, hot dog head ass, is just sitting there. He don't even give a fuck to catch the hypocrisy of it all, to catch the mismatchingness of it all. This bitch is literally talking out of all sides of her fucking dick sucker, and he just here absorbing it because for the most part she's doing his dirty work for him. She's minimizing trans women the way he would have her to do. He's invalidating trans women's lived experience as he would have her to do. She's doing all of the cooning and the tap dancing for him, and he just sitting there eating it up. Oh yeah, this is an amazing and wonderful ass motherfucking experience, girl. This is a great conversation. The whole fucking conversation is Flame tap dancing, molly-whopping, moonwalking, shoe shining, teabagging, cis hetero supremacy. He ain't even have to insert his damn self outside of his ad-libs because she was doing master's job for him, understanding the fucking assignment. Welcome to the platform, Reckless.
What's going on?
Girl. And I see it, trans women specifically, is that they are angry. And we keep sending the wrong representatives to the table to have a real conversation like we are having right now. Yes. I don't have
it. Ain't nothing real about this conversation. It lacks nuance. It's not intersectional. And all you're fucking doing is telling trans people to stay in their fucking place. So this is a very one-sided conversation. And then she's talking about the wrong representative. And let me tell y'all who the fuck she's talking about. She's talking about Hope Giselle. Because she goes on further into the interview to highlight this one specific trans activist who she said is such an angry bitch that she should have kept her dick. And the only Black trans woman activist that we know she's had a lot of contention with, and it's been very visible, is Gworllll. Matter of fact, their last interaction, not the last, because the last interaction was on T.S. Madison platform, but there was another trans activist who had T.S. Madison on and had Gworllll on, and then Flame, of course, inserted herself into the conversation. And things got so heated between Hope and Flame, and Hope was keeping it cool. Hope was just keeping her fucking stiletto where the fuck it belonged, which is on privileged neck. Okay? And there was a point where it was so much going on that Flame got so frustrated, she called Gworllll a bitch, but Hope didn't hear it. And if you wasn't listening closely, you would have not heard it either, because it kind of got muddied up. Because I think all of them were kind of talking at one time at this point. She was like, this bitch. And she said it with such vitriol when she said it. She's always had a problem that Gworllll is not a tap dancing, licking ass buffoon like she is, and instead calls for the confrontation and accountability of the dominant society regarding the queerphobia and transphobia and homophobia that is pervasive in the community. And she also speaks against self-loathing, secretly self-hating as queer people like Flame as well, who exist in the community. Like I said earlier on in the discussion, baby, we have our fair share of coons and buffoons as well. But before I go any further, anything you want to say so far, Reckless, now that you're here? And shout out to So Debonair for the old nasty cash app, baby daddy. Period.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Land of Reckless Logic. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack that notification bell so do not miss any of my posts from CTV. Make sure you guys thumbs up. It was like 400 people up in this live. When I first came in, it was only 211 likes. So make sure you guys get them thumbs up. Okay.
The roof,
to be completely honest, I feel like I'm already kind of caught up on what all that Flame didn't say, because I really wasn't expecting any type of nuance. I wasn't expecting any type of change in her perspective. To be completely honest, when it comes down to Flame, she would have shocked me if she would have came up there very intellectual and was willing to push back against dominant society, because as we all know, and what I'm about to say does not reflect the views, opinions of CTV. This is Reckless Logic speaking, and what I'm about to say is figuratively. She likes to suck the dick of the dominant society just so she could make it through in life and be able to tap dance, shuck and jive for dominant society. That's exactly what she does. That's the reason why I don't take anything she says serious, because she is a piece of shit. That's the reason why now, whenever we talk about coons, whenever we talk about the mammies and the pappies, for queer people, I call them the Monroes. That's what I call them, because she is the face of self-hate. She is the Candace Owens of the community. She does nothing but spit out self-hate. She does nothing but help the dominant society feel good about treating trans people, treating non-binary people, all different types of ways. And she does this thing, and you hit on it as soon as I came in. She does this thing where she likes to get on the forefront, talk out of both sides of her neck, and then once she gets clocked, gets dragged, get hit with a couple of haymakers, all of a sudden, I'm just speaking for myself. Then shut the f up then. If you know you're a comedian, then shut the f up and take your ass on stage and start telling some jokes. And from what I've seen, you can barely do that. Start telling some jokes, get a hee-hee and a ha-ha. Get your ass out of those serious conversations. Get your ass out of the dialogue that affects the lives of queer people and marginalized groups. Because if you're going to be a pick-me, if you're going to be a Monroe, and you want to get your ass in the way of queer people windmilling on the dominant society for the queer phobia on an explicit or subtle level, then I'm going to swing on both of you hoes then. I'm going to knock your ass out, and after I get done with that, dominant society, here I come. Get your ass out the way. That's all I want to say so far.
You know, it must be something else to really have, you know, the level of throat capacity that Flame has. I've never had a desire to fit the fuck in. And then to want to fit in so bad that I'm willing to sell my own community out just to have the pseudo acceptance of a community that is going to ship her motherfucking ass out with the rest of us when that goddamn Namaste ship pulls the fuck up and asks all trans bitches aboard, all motherfucking same gender loving people aboard. And Flame is a prime example of a confident, self-deceived coon. I understand that she does not see herself as someone who panders to the hetero community. I understand she does not see herself as someone who is also dangerous to trans women's existence or to hetero, not the hetero, to same gender loving folks' existence. But that's the self-deceived part of it. Do I come on this bitch and say, this is my hair? No, bitch, it's weave. Good weave. Okay? The Flame does not think she's a coon, even though she is. And there was not one redeeming aspect to this interview. Everything was about revving up the legitimacy behind all the concerns, all the fears, all the boundaries, all the judgments that the dominant society has toward LGBT folk. All of it. There was never any space for anything else. And let me just play it.
But sometimes I think it's the way you carry yourself. And I think the problem with this younger demographic of trans women, and I say trans women specifically, is that they are angry. And we keep sending the wrong representatives to the table to have a real conversation like we are having now.
Yes.
I don't have an agenda. I'm not angry. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to get you to understand me.
Same here.
And I can understand you.
Same here.
This is
So full of shit.
What they're pushing and what they're forcing, and everybody's
Okay.
Did you see how she just leaned? She leaned. I mean, she just dived in with bikini on and all. I mean, no shame. Just leaned right into all the rhetoric and language and ideology.
Yep.
So
and you know what's also funny
she
too?
agrees that her tribe members are pushing an agenda. She completely placated to the imaginary fear that the dominant society has, that somebody is trying to convert them into queer people. You know, could the agenda actually be that minority people are trying to convert the dominant society into decent people? Girl. What about that part? Okay, if anybody believes that black people are trying to push an agenda to make everybody black, that would be a total misrepresentation of the plight of black people. The opportunity is to make you ignorant motherfuckers decent people. The plight of queer people would also be the same. The plight of any marginalized group, whether it's Asian Americans, whether it's black women, whether it's LGBT folk, whether it's immigrants, etc., would be to humanize you motherfuckers and give y'all an opportunity to actually be decent fucking persons. Girl. But go ahead. I know that you were trying to jump into that.
Because what it's also the misogyny too. That's the misogyny why that's also present in her talking points, because we all know that she's talking about Hope Giselle, and we all know that Hope Giselle is also a black woman, and so it's just really interesting and convenient that the same stigmas that cis black women face of being angry, being emotional, and being all of these things, Flame literally painted Hope Giselle with that exact same brush, with that exact same stigma, That is crazy. And the thing with Flame that irks my spirit, and I'm gonna be honest with you, these motherfucking hotep niggas, they so full of shit. We're here to have a conversation. We're here to, we're here to understand each other. Then what do you mean you're trying to? I really want to ask. I really want to ask Flame this question. If you're there to get an understanding, then my question to you is, how can you talk out of both sides of your neck and think you're going to make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. On one end, transphobia exists. On the other end, it doesn't exist. On one end, you say, because I'm also going to reference that live she had with Hope Giselle. She said we need to send some representatives that aren't angry. But then last time I checked on the Breakfast Club, Janet Mock was on the Breakfast Club. She never raised her voice. She was very polite, was very monotone, but didn't even everything. And they still disrespected Janet Mock. So it's not about the presentation or the delivery. It's about the message that they're trying, that trans women, non-binary people, queer people are conveying. That's the issue. And to be completely honest, E. Ortiz in the comment section, you saying trans women nowadays want to replace women. Please allow that to make sense. Last time I checked, whenever there's a trans woman being present, a cis woman does not go off the face of the earth. Please make it make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Just admit you transphobic. That's it.
I have some questions for. So first of all, she said, both of you are not trans women. How can you deny what Flame is experiencing? Okay, so I want you to rewind the tape and tell me where I denied what she experienced. If anything, I've confirmed why she doesn't experience transphobia, why she can walk her dog without a hate crime, why she can exist in the bubble of reality she's created out of her wealth, out of her partial fame, that provides her the safety and the adequacy to exist safely in the world. So where was anything taken away from her? Where was anything taken away from her? This conversation has been about telling her ass not to take anything away from anybody else, because she speaks about herself when speaking to what other trans women are going through. She makes it her point to say what type of trans woman she's not. Well, then why are you part of the conversation? Leave that space and that seat for the trans women who are being victimized, who are being sexually assaulted, who are being pushed and intimidated out of their communities, out of spaces. Did we not forget about those trans women who was on Hollywood Boulevard a few years ago, who was beat and berated by a transphobe in the middle of the street? He beat them with bats, baton, crowbars, punched them, assaulted them. They were jumped. And do you know what the dominant society did?
Laughed.
You know what couples did as these trans women were beat to a bloody pulp in the middle of the street? The dominant society put out their phones and laughed and even taunted them while they were subjected to abuse. So the question is, E. Ortiz, why the fuck is Flame using her experience to deny other trans women's experience of violence she says is not her experience, of problems that she says is not of her experience, of issues that is not of her said experience? She gets to speak for Flame. She don't get to speak for every trans woman, even though she does, but says she does not. And the only conversation she's ever interested in jumping into are the ones where those trans women are being highlighted. She knows how to magically, vibrationally align with those topics that are not about her, that are not about her experience. Exactly why you should be sitting the fuck damn down then. It's a lot of shit that I've never fucking experienced. That ain't got shit to do with it being a reality for another motherfucker. I ain't never had a goddamn officer put their fucking knee on my back and then my ass crack. That don't mean it's not happening to another ninja. I never had a motherfucking police officer slam me and throw my ass all over the goddamn concrete and all over the roof of the goddamn car. It don't mean that it's not another ninja's experience. I ain't never had the fucking feds or the motherfucking FBI or motherfucking police presence plant motherfucking false evidence in my fucking vehicle with the intent that I would get locked up under a false charge. But that damn sure has been other ninjas' experience. It's a lot of shit that has not happened to me. That does not mean it hasn't happened to you. E. Ortiz has no idea where she's at. She's lost and found. You know, she's confused, baby. You know, she don't got a bonnet on. It was a long Friday night, baby. And she's, you know, just stumbling around. It's still trying to wake up, y'all. So y'all just, you know, take it easy on Miss E. Ortiz.
But the thing is that Trent, like, Flame already let it be known she's shucking and jiving. Like, she knows all these things are true, because even on that live that she had with Hope Giselle, she said people think that people believe that these networks and stuff and all these people are using me. They're not using me. I know exactly what I'm doing. And when she said that, bam, that let me know. Like, before then I already knew, but that confirmed that she's very intentional about getting her ass on these platforms inside of these interviews to speak on subjects that she said she doesn't want to be the voice of. She literally said that. She told Maddie this. She told Hope this. She told what's the other trans activist? I can't think of her name right now, but she said that on their live. You know, the Hope Giselle, these are the intellectual girls, and she said, "I'm not that." Okay, well, since you know you're not that, take your ass into the back seat and get out the driver's seat. That's the goddamn problem. That's the issue. And like you said earlier, people literally get on platforms, get into interviews, get on social media spaces, into dialogues, tap dancing, windmilling on social justice issues, injustice issues, not realizing that, sir, ma'am, you're the people you tap dancing for, they're going to treat you the exact same way. They're going to treat you the exact same way. Being a mammy is only going to work until, I guess, so far. Being a pappy is only going to work until a certain extent. Being a Monroe flame is only going to work until they have no use for you anymore. That shit is stupid and self-destructive. That's it.
I want you to keep talking because I'm trying to find this real quick.
Oh, okay. But okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you, because I didn't come in I was like over in my live. What's going on Instagram? But in terms of Flame Monroe, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't expect anything more. I didn't expect anything less. When it comes down to these hotep dudes, I just think it's also very, and this is what I mean. Oh, this is what I mean when I say that they're so full of shit in terms of having these conversations, trying to quote unquote learn and trying to educate themselves, trying to come to an understanding. Because I think it's really convenient how when it comes down to finding narratives, finding talking points, or finding people that disregard queer people's experiences, minimalize their experiences, disregard their emotional state, disregard legislation or obvious evidence. But it's so easy for them to find people like a Flame Monroe, but they don't have that same energy to find people like a Hope Giselle. Now, I do understand a lot of people may not know who Hope Giselle is. like who she is. But if you're looking for information and if you want to find it, you're gonna find it. And another reason why I think it's full of shit that they're not trying to find it is because Hope Giselle is also connected to T.S. Madison, a well-known trans woman. So if you want to find it, you're gonna find it, and you're gonna do your due diligence to find that information. That's how I said they're full of shit, and I need for them to be open and honest about what the fuck their true intentions are. Because if you really want to find the information, you would take a deep dive. The same way you deep dive into those articles about statistics that demonize queer people. I need for you to also deep dive into statistics that also support queer people, so you can have a well-balanced judgment and have more context. So that's all, girl. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, I guess he's still going. You guys, make sure you guys thumbs up this video. Thumbs up. No, but actually, let me read some of your comments. Let me go.
Okay, I'm back. Hold on. Oh, because I was trying to find, because I just ironically I had came across this channel by this trans woman by the name of Strawberry Space, and she's a content creator, and she had reviewed
the interview,
the Iyanla Van Zant Breakfast Club interview, and she was talking in that experience about how, and I was trying to, because the video is only it's only like 13 minutes long. I was trying to find it, but she was talking about how like she has trauma from dealing with cis women and just the cis hetero community, and she was talking about how like coming out as a trans woman is very scary because she's been misgendered as a result of coming out. Like she's come out and told cis women and men that she was trans, and then they proceeded to bully her, to dissect her body, to talk about her feet, her shoulders, her hands, etc. That she's definitely had her fair share of very fucked up encounters with the cis community, with the cis hetero community. And so I was gonna play some of that because I was trying to find what point in her commentary where she spoke about that, because just to establish the distinction between Flame's existence does not speak for every trans woman's existence. Whatever Flame's existence is hers. Whatever shit she ain't experienced, whatever violence she ain't experienced, whatever shortcomings she ain't experienced are hers not to have experienced. That does not dictate whether those obstacles and roadblocks have been in the pathways of other trans women. And once again, I have to remind people, including Flame's dumbass, that she also, especially in the current version of Flame, has to also inform herself with the fact that she's a privileged trans woman who's protected to an extent by her partial fame and her money. Okay, and that's why we never use people like Laverne Cox or Flame or even the beloved T.S. Madison as examples of the plight of trans women in general, because most trans women are not famous and do not have access and proximity to these resources that give them a certain level of protection, like T.S. Madison has at this level, like Laverne Cox or Janice Mox, etc., who in some way are shielded from certain behaviors and certain ideologies because they kind of exist in a upper echelon aspect of society. That's going to make your experience very different. So we can't even use T.S. Madison when talking about everyday trans women, once again, who are commuting through the city, who live in low-income areas, who exist and work at Walmart and work at McDonald's, and also don't have passing privilege, who have to endure being called men in wig, have objects thrown at them, have people be entitled to commit bullying tactics against them because of the way they show up and their inability to afford those things that may make their experience a lot safer and a lot more normal. Okay, so that's a problem with privileged motherfuckers in general, always kind of using themselves as the example where it ain't happening to my privileged ass. Bitch, you're privileged. Oh, it ain't happening to me. And if we don't accept this from uptight, rich-ass black people who are having a different lived black experience because they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, they were protected by the money, by the wealth, by the social status of their families, of their parents, etc., right? They're having a different fucking lived experience than other fucking black people who are existing in the bottom part of the fish aquarium, where it's the tightest at. In the barrel, where it's the darkest at in the barrel. Okay, so all queer people are also not qualified to speak, even though they have the right to, and they do so any fucking way. Let's move along a little bit more here.
Just think that has something to do with being independent.
Oh no, that's the trans woman I was talking about.
Well, when you get it, I do want to pull up an example that we are referring to when you get a chance.
I gotta set my other life back a little bit now because I'm running behind.
Because I really want you guys to see this example that happened a little bit of a while ago. Miss Ayana Dior, who got into an accident, a little bump, like hit the bumper, and got a little accident, and the cis women, I believe it was cis women, wanted their money up front. And so instead of going through the insurance, they wanted the money up front.
Oh, we're gonna play it and see it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just pull it up. I'm gonna play some more of this shit.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. I'm transphobic and I'm transphobic.
Okay, so now she's about to speak to what is transphobic, because the Dr. Umar wannabe just asked the Mammy, what is transphobia? What is that?
Please tell me how the hell I'm transphobic and transgender. They love to holler, Flame, you're not a real trans woman. You're not a real trans woman.
Wow.
Keep telling me what I ain't, and I'm gonna keep reminding what you ain't gonna never be.
Oh man. Ooh, okay.
This is mother talking. Come get it.
Man, look, Flame, Monroe.
Okay, so isn't it funny how she never even answered the goddamn question, and he's so goddamn stupid and enjoying the cooning, he don't even realize she didn't even answer the question. She wasn't going to answer it anyway. Well, she answered it how she answered it, by total deflecting from defining it, because she really probably doesn't believe there is a such thing as transphobia, even though she agrees that her mammy would have been transphobic had she came out as a trans woman at an early age. And even though she also agreed that there are just people who just hate and hurt trans women, but at the same time don't believe that hate really happens and that trans women are really in danger. But she's speaking from a place of privilege as she talks her bullshit.
Yeah,
For a reason.
good one.
Wow. So, and you went right into the next thing I was going to ask you about, which is transphobia.
Yeah.
What is that? Because it changes, as you said, with every person.
The newest word that's out, the newest popular word, because it was problematic, and now it's transphobic, and now it's if you don't agree with what they say now, you're automatically transphobic. Wow. That is the most.
Well, if we're not automatically straight, we're the F-bomb and abomination, so they can give us names, but we can't return the favor. We the F-bomb, we're punks, we're sissies, we are DYKESs, bulldaggers, we're its, we're freaks, we're abominations, we are unclean, we are we are every name in the book, but we can't give these
predators.
We can't give these hoes not one name of their own. We can't give them not one name of their own. We've been given every name, every salacious, slanderous, injurious name there is, and we can't call these people what they in fact are.
Baffling thing in the world to me outside of this country want to cancel books that teach critical race theory.
Come on.
But keep selling AR-15. So you want to stop selling books that teach
She
us
tap dancing.
keep selling rifles that make us history.
Oh, dang. Okay. All right. Come on, Flame.
Pretty bitch.
Come on.
It's hard to appreciate even like the stuff that she's saying that is on point, because so much of everything else she's saying is completely out of touch with her ability to be just as logical in this sense as she is in these other senses.
Girl.
Because she also ain't really pushing against right here about the hypocrisy of America, but at the same time I could use that same logic to say, okay, so because you're also not pushing against the fact that Americans can go off the war at 18, why should it take them to be 25 to get a sexual reassignment surgery? If they're old enough to make that type of decision at 18 fucking years old, then they're old enough to make a lot of fucking decisions at 18 years old, including transitioning.
Right.
Come on.
It's out of control. They're making trans people transphobic. Just because you, and here's the thing. As part of the LGBT community, we are the most opinionated. I always got something to say. But this new generation is the softest breed of egg I've ever seen. You can.
Okay, so
girl, shut the fuck.
I've already spoke to this. So your thoughts on the LGBT community being so opinionated?
Girl, shut the fuck up, Flame. Like, this is the reason why we don't need you in these conversations. Like, you're literally purposefully going on his platform and you're using buzzwords. That's the reason why you're saying force, huh?
Shucking and jiving.
Shucking and jiving. That's the reason why you're using force, trying to push on. That's why you use the word agenda. That's the reason why you used angry. You know what you're doing. You're so fucking... She irks my spirit, and it's just the hypocrisy. Is there an echo?
No.
Okay, maybe it's just my end. But I was gonna say, like, it's just the hypocrisy of her saying that they're very opinionated. Last time, it's the reverse psychology. That's the shit that irks my spirit. It's like everything, all of these narratives that have been constructed by cishet people, placed upon queer people historically, cishet people have done. Agenda. Last time I checked, queer people didn't have no conversion therapy camps. Last time I checked, queer people weren't the ones saying that heterosexuality was a mental illness. Last time I checked, queer people were not the ones saying that heterosexuality is breeded out of SA. Last time I checked, queer people are not the ones actually pushing out narratives to help demonize heterosexual people, but then yet they claim victimhood by trying to talk about quote unquote something like heterophobia or talk about everybody's too sensitive. But I also think it's very interesting that that same sensitivity is always there whenever we talk about race or whenever we talk about white supremacy, mayonnaise supremacy in America. That same sensitivity is very much active and very much present. But yet, when it comes down to queer people, all of a sudden you just got to take it. Just take it, bow down, kiss the ring. It is what it is. Don't try to change people's belief system. If that's the motherfucking case, Malcolm X, you should have just stopped doing what the fuck you were doing. If that was the case, Martin Luther King, you should have stopped what the fuck you were doing. Rosa Parks, if that's the case, you should have got your ass up and got your ass at the end of the goddamn bus. If that was the case, Harriet Tubman, there shouldn't have been no Underground Railroad on track or off track or even through the trail. If that's the case. But we know and we understand y'all only say that in regards to queer people because you're queer phobic. And also because you shucking and jiving and trying to suck the nut out of dominant society. And the thing that's very interesting is that you do know that queer phobia is very much present. Y'all know this. That's the reason why y'all irk my spirit when y'all literally get in our faces. And I haven't heard the last time I heard the F-bomb. Yes, you haven't. Duh. You're not gay. Duh. That's like a white person saying, I haven't heard the N-word in so long. Duh, bitch. You're not black. So of course, you're probably not going to come across it as much. Or of course, when it's said, you're probably not going to pay attention to it as much. Duh. And I can't take Flame because what she would literally do, she gets in these on these platforms, conversations, talk out of both sides of her neck. Then she wants to claim victimhood. Everybody's so sensitive and all that. But then last time I checked, when everybody else is commenting on the fuck shit that you decided to take your ass to that interview, you decided to go onto that platform and give your opinion and try to use your experience as the end all be all about trans women, then all of a sudden when you get backlash, all of a sudden you in everybody's chat. So if you're not sensitive, then that means that you shouldn't be in nobody's chat. You should be used to this shit, and you should not even try to clear anything up, because remember, you said what you said. Because I think that's very interesting too, because wasn't she in your chat when we had an opinion about her? And wasn't she going back and forth with me in the chat because I had an opinion about her?
Mm-hmm.
But that seems like sensitivity to me. So the pot calling the kettle black, especially when it comes out to melanated people, because I would think, but then again, I know better. I would think melanated people will understand that you guys are literally cishet people, and also queer people as well, literally doing the same shit Massa ass did to you. Now, yes, race and sexuality and gender identity are different things, but oppression is oppression, and it all works the same. It all works the same. So don't on one end talk about sensitivity levels, but then on the other end, you want to talk about how the sensitive topic of critical race theory, make it make sense. Inflame, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm gonna be quiet, but girl. Bitch, actually, fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Go play in traffic. I'm so tired of her.
I just did a poll, so you guys take that poll. Okay, before we go any further, you pulled up this clip. You want to provide some context super quick?
Okay, so this is Ayanna Dior. She was in a little minor car accident, and with the car accident, the cis it was a group of cis women, I want to say, but it was a group of people. And when they got out the car, they wanted Ayanna to give them the money up front. Last time I checked, when you get in a car accident, you have to go through insurance, but I digress. They wanted her to give them the money up front, and she wasn't going to do that because, for one, she didn't have it. And then, but two, she ended up walking to the gas station. And as she's walking to the gas station, there's a group of people surrounding her, threatening her, transphobic slurs, queerphobic slurs. We gonna beat your ass, going crazy. And then what ends up happening, what you're about to witness, is her being attacked by 15 plus people inside of this store. It was men and women, and the very interesting thing about it is that the people that were actually, at least were trying to break it up, were all women. But I'm gonna let you guys view it for yourselves. Now, this is the examples that we speak of when we talk about transphobia and how dangerous it can get.
The trigger warning.
Trigger warning, sensitive content.
Hey, didn't want to fight. Ooh, trade them. Hold on. What's that? Hey. Yeah, on your uncle, bitch. On your uncle. Okay. Hey, y'all don't do it. On your uncle, you got the ass. Hey, yeah. What you talking about? Hey, yeah. Help us, bro. Damn, on bro, grade 8 welding. Damn, they doing her like a real dude on bro grade. Yeah, they doing her real thing. Where my weed at? Oh, bro grade. Pass that shit, bro. Let me hit that shit, bro. Real show on my baby.
And I want you guys to see how they all galvanized to attack this trans woman and to disrespect this trans woman. But yet they were nowhere to be found when it came down to motherfucking George Zimmerman. That's the reason I don't take these motherfuckers serious. They were nowhere to be found when it came down to George Zimmerman. But yet they galvanized and applauded themselves for beating up on 6ix9ine. Get the fuck up out of here.
Exactly, Mary. Like this was a modern day lynching of a trans woman, all because there was a little fender bender that took place, and the women whose car she had a little fender bender with wanted money for damages that probably weren't even fucking there on the spot. They wanted to completely overshoot the actual professional way to go about handling the situation, which is exchanging each other's information, maybe call it an officer to the scene to document it, get a police report, and then have the insurances deal with each other. They decided to be ghetto ass 305 chicks, demand their money up front, and more than likely probably did this because this was a trans woman who they could treat like that, and then started beating on this trans woman. She runs into the store for safety, thinking that the police would be called or that there would be some shielding between her and the mob, and then the entire community jumps in and beats this trans woman. And she's so terrified that you guys see them drag her out of the store by her hair and her neck as they're punching, kicking, doing everything to her. She would rather, she ran back into the store, attempting to run through the crowd because it was safer to be in there behind the owner, who she probably believed at least had a gun or had a back office that she could lock herself in, rather than to be outside completely exposed to the crowd. And I can only imagine, Reckless, how terrified this woman must have been, because you can literally hear her wails, hear her wailing and screaming. Could you I could not imagine the fear that went through this woman's entire being. She had to have believed she was probably going to die that night.
Yeah.
And this is why I do not play with minority people, period, whether it's black women, black men, or black queer people. I do not play about being locked and loaded and being motherfucking armed and very dangerous. This is exactly why I carry everywhere I go. This is exactly why I carry Miss Beretta Scott King in my backpack when I'm in my car, when I'm pooching through 7-Eleven, when I'm wherever I be, the mall, whatever it is, girl. Like, me and Miss Beretta Scott King are always a dynamic duo, because you never know what type of fucking situation you gonna be in where a motherfucker's gonna try your top. And see, had this been CTV, bitch, this whole screen would have been black and all y'all would have been hearing is bow, 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 bow. We wouldn't have even had never made it to inside the store, because I handle every act of aggression with Miss Beretta Scott King. So the minute that any motherfucker would have started swinging on me, the minute that the situation escalated beyond conversation, motherfucker started walking up. It, like, anytime you start introducing your body as your apparatus for communication, girl, outside your mouth, bow, 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 bow. That's it.
Let me say this, because this actually the perfect segue of what I mean. There's a distinction between, because let's be honest, queer people don't have power. We do not. We do not.
Except in the GUNs they carry.
Right. They don't have power. There is a distinction. I'm about to make this distinction right here. There's a distinction between having power and being a protected class. I literally just explained this. Think of this. I'm going to use an analogy. Think of this as, like, in order for you to have, so think of it like this. Imagine two castles, right? Actually, imagine three castles. So you have Castle A, which is the cis-het community. Castle B, overseas terrorists, I don't know. And then you have Castle B, you have queer people, the queer community. Think of this like the terrorist castle decides they want to attack the cis-het castle. The cis-het castle has power within themselves to be able to stand up and defend themselves, because they have the infrastructure, they have the power and equipment to do so. That's having power. Now, the distinction between having power and being a protected class is that if this exact same terrorist castle or whatever decides to attack the queer castle, that's like the difference between the protected class and having power within itself is that whoever holds that power, it's like building a fence around that queer castle, which means that protection, it doesn't come from yourself. It comes from other people who hold the power. And the danger with that is something that we really just seen in this video, is that when they pick and choose, when they don't want to protect you, that's your ass. And that's exactly what happened in this video when we see I'm about to say Ayana, Dior go inside of the gas station for protection. But then when someone inside of the store decided they did not want to protect her anymore, that was her ass. There's a distinction between having power and being a protected class. Protected class, your protection is not with yourself. It's provided by other people who can take it or give it. That's all.
Is that the end of the video?
Yeah, well, it's a long video, but that's really it for all of it. And
it's a long video.
Yeah, it's a long video. It's like it's 13. I'm at the 13-minute mark. It's 18 minutes.
No, I mean, what's left in the video?
Oh no. Well, that's really it. It's them hanging around, going F words and T words and all that other stuff. But another thing too, and I say this all the time, I want you guys to also pay attention. The queer phobia that was very much present. I'm not only talking about the people that's fighting them, fighting Dior. I'm not talking about the only I'm also talking about the person that's was laughing, recording, like cheering it on. Those are all the displays of queer phobia. Some were very much more explicit than others, but it's very much present. And this is what we see. This is what I see a lot of times in these conversations. Some of y'all are more explicit, not y'all, but y'all, but not y'all, but y'all. Some of y'all more explicit with your queer phobia, and a lot of y'all more passive or very subtle. I have concerns of this and that. I take issue with this and that. And I think it's also very interesting as well, too. The same people that literally say things along the lines of, I believe in science, I believe in research, which doesn't even make any sense because science nowadays agree more with what the fuck me and Conscious are talking about than what the head of queer phobes are talking about. So which one is, do you believe in science or no? Because when we start to get into the gender identity conversation, which is separate from sexual orientation, science makes a distinction between the sex, which is the reproductive organs, and the gender, which is the social construct. But if you let y'all tell it, y'all believe in science, but at the same time, y'all disagree with science at the same time. Once again, like Conscious says, if you guys be open and honest about what you truly feel in your subconscious or your conscious, you wouldn't look so much like a dumbass trying to make things make sense, make things fit. Stop trying to put a bow tie on some shit that, bitch, you already know the shit, the bow tie don't go there. Just be open and honest. The same way we came out the closet, y'all do too. That's it.
What else gonna say? Oh, I was gonna respond. T87 says, I'm a part of the community. I also have a brother and sister that are as well, and I'm always worried about them more than I am myself, and you should be. I never forget that I am a part of an endangered species, honey. That I am prey amongst a predator. But I'm a prey that chooses to also have predatorial capabilities when I need, okay, to battle it out. And it's a shame that this type of fear has to exist, but it's a fear that should be adhered to, because it's always better to be safe than sorry. If you have minority children, whether those are Black children, whether those are queer children, those children need to be in martial arts. They need to be taking combat classes, and they need to be taught about the reality of their identity. And that's why it's even more a shame that homophobia and transphobia and queerphobia is a real thing, because queer people go through everything outside of their households. And to turn around and have to come back home to bigotry, come back home to ignorance, come back home to hate and motherfuckers who don't love them, it's no wonder the suicide rates are completely sky high through the roof. And I just want people to really internalize that video that you just saw. For queer people who are out here thinking that you in a free world, baby, you're not, okay? You're in dangerous motherfucking land, okay? These motherfuckers don't like you. They don't love you. They don't want you, okay? You're not even human to them. That's why they have no conscience about disposing of you. They have no conscience about attacking you in a lynch mob. They have no conscience about escalating a situation just because you are who you are. Okay, you're the big bad boogeyman to society. Okay, Christianity and religion and patriarchy has been used as a way to condition people to think this way about queer people. Okay, and you can still live your life fully and live a full life while also knowing to stay ready so that you ain't got to get ready, because you also understand the reality of your freedom, and the reality of your authenticity is going to come at the price of triggering up ignorant ass motherfuckers who are not going to act and behave decent towards you. And just in case motherfuckers got the devil in you, you need to have the Lord locked and loaded inside of this Beretta Scott King, baby. Okay, and I want to bring up one more video in tandem with what Reckless had brought up.
But it was,
and I played this video one time before. So from a trans woman getting beat up to a black man who is publicly in love with his black trans girlfriend, who's coming outside of a store. William, what's this guy's name? His last name is William Willow. Okay, this young black Philadelphia man took his own life as a result of a lot of struggles in his life. One of those struggles had to do with trauma, had to do with depression, had to do with addiction, whatever drove the addiction, and whatever constant harassment he was under and faced as a result of being with a black trans woman out in the open rather than keeping her his little secret. This is a video that the dominant society filmed as he's minding his business with headphones in, and he's being met by a lynch mob who decides to berate him over the fact that he's with a black trans woman.
You say, keep it in being, you fuck what? You fuck what? Bro, you do what? Fuck tranny, so what? That's thorough? Like, that's not thorough. You sucking dick and all that. That's not thorough, sucking dick and all that. He suck dick.
Okay, so that's why whenever I enter into these conversations, whether that's in the hotep space, the manosphere space, I keep my foot on Ninja's motherfucking neck, because you ninjas cannot tell me that homophobia is not a real thing. You cannot tell me that transphobia is not a real motherfucking thing. You cannot tell me that the dominant society is accepting, and this is why bitches like Flame and Roll need to shut the fuck up, because she's not coming out of the 7-Eleven on the hood side of fucking town without her makeup on and her titties out looking like a fucking freak and being met with said violence and reaction. This is why I don't play no games when I enter into spaces and I speak about the reality of these fucking things. I don't give a fuck whether it's 12 ninjas on a panel, 24 ninjas on a panel, 100 motherfuckers in the literal fucking room. You can't tell me a motherfucking thing about the danger that queer people are allegedly not in if you allow self-delusion dominant society tell it. Of course, you all would tell yourselves that to make yourself feel better. And you would tell yourself that so that you don't have to have no responsibility in cleaning up the mess that your forefathers created. And cleaning up the mess that your civil rights made, and that your civil rights leaders created, that your pastors created, that your families created, denying that queer people literally experience emotional and a lot of times physical violence is just a way to minimize the problem so that you don't have to act responsibly and so that you don't have to hold those who do perpetuate that violence accountable because you are a pick-misha yourself. Heterosexual people are pick-mishas. They also desire to fit in with one another. They also desire to be on code with one another. I've literally seen people literally come over here into this space in conversations about queerness and say what they need to say in order to make queer people happy, and then go in other spaces and lose their motherfucking mind, and go into other spaces and talk the complete opposite, go into other spaces and say nothing about queer phobia or don't hold their peers accountable. I've literally seen it with my own eyes. I've seen ninjas pussy pop from east to west. Okay, because there's a pick-misha desire for conformity, and this is why queer people should not trust the dominant society. I do not trust the dominant society. Okay, I do not. I don't even really believe in allyship. I've seen too much fucking pussy popping happen. So when I go to speak, and I can only hold myself accountable, I have to speak clearly. I have to speak passionately. Because nobody in the room is going to fucking do that on our behalf but ourselves. And then it's unfortunate that the issue is as hardcore as it is, and yet we have also self-loathing, self-hating as queer people like Flame Monroe, who could be very powerful and significant to the culture and still be well balanced in her attitude. But all Flame does is literally suck the dick of patriarchy and queer phobia so that she can avoid that same fucking violence she know is waiting for her motherfucking ass too, because all her pussy popping is motivated out of the reality of what it's like to be a endangered fucking species in this community as a queer person. Her pussy popping and shucking and motherfucking jiving is inspired and motivated out of the reality she refuses to tell the dominant society to their face about, and that she rather placate to so that she can be made the exception to the fucking rule while leaving the rest of her tribe members out there to fend for their fucking selves. That's the selfish, narcissistic, dangerous feedback and impact of her coonery and buffoonery. And yeah, it's gonna be met with resistance every fucking time. Queer people's lives are actually informed by the shallowness of the church, the Christian religion, Western socialization, etc. Queer people have everything up against, especially black queer fucking people, have their backs completely pitted up against the wall as it relates to the intersections between their fucking genders, their fucking orientation, and their motherfucking ethnicities. All of that crucifix is intersecting, that whole cross intersecting through their fucking existence. So straight folk can say what the fuck they want. Flame can say what the fuck she want. Cooning and buffooning at its highest.
So what you guys are looking at right now was an incident with a boy named Tyler. Tyler was a 12-year-old boy where his family saw him doing some gay-ish. And so there's a clip, there's a video, but I'm not going to play it, where you see Tyler get his head shaved, where his hairline is about 4 or 5 inches pushed back. Then not only that, they shaved the word gay on the side of his head. And in the video, he was choked, hit, punched in the chest, smacked around, saying, "You still doing that gay-ish? You still doing that gay-ish?" And this is the type of treatment that the dominant society likes to perpetuate onto queer people, and then look other queer people in the face saying, transphobia doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Meanwhile, while you're inside of your manosphere spaces, having queer children, having queer uncles, having queer relatives, having queer friends, only God knows what type of status any of those queer people are, because you also have the self-hated ones like Flame spitting out anti-queer rhetoric that's dangerous to queer people, which is the reason why queer people lose their lives directly or indirectly. But then yet get in these spaces saying, oh, it doesn't exist. I've never seen anyone say the F word or anything like that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, if you didn't see it, then shut the fuck up and listen to our experiences, because we're telling you. That's the problem. People get in these conversations trying to tell us about our experience. No, we're trying to tell you. You're the one uninformed. You're the one that lacks information and nuance and context. Not us. We're very clear. And a lot of times, too, people literally get in these conversations trying to teach us on something that we lived through. You can't teach us that.
But you can't tell me a goddamn thing.
And that papification that literally happens, and I'm going to speak to it because I was glad you hit on it, because I was about to touch on it too. How literally people literally get in on CTV's panels. Yes, we got to respect each other, you know, go down the whole 9 yards, go on they speech, and, you know, it's real good. Like, yes, yes. But then get in manosphere spaces, doing a code switch, sucking the dicks of manosphere, the men on those panels who aren't qualified to do shit, not qualified to lead. Only thing they need to lead their ass into a dental clinic. They need to lead their ass into a retirement home. Sit your ass down somewhere. Into a classroom, learn some shit. But then want to get in our face and saying, yeah, I respect you guys. It don't seem like it.
Well, let's talk about the respect, because we about to wrap the fuck up too.
Mhm.
Is guess who came and retrieved this child from his home, got him into safety, and helped CPS to get involved in what happened to the child? It was that same angry black trans woman who Flame said should have kept her motherfucking dick. Yeah, she was angry enough to get up off her motherfucking ass and to be proactive, while Flame was busy trying to book gigs to pussy pop to. So once again, what does Flame have to say about all these things? This trans woman getting a lynch mob against her, this black man being driven to suicide, and the level of hate he was met with as a result of him loving a bitch like her out in the open. Where was Flame when it came to this child? Because that angry black trans woman that she said should have kept her dick, it's the reason why this child was able to get to safety while she was sucking the dick of cis hetero supremacy. While she's out here telling heterosexual folk that queer people are over exaggerating their lived experiences, while she's out here making the dominant society feel better and be delusional about their behavior, while she's busy convincing the dominant society that they bear no responsibility and that they can continue to move on in their existence because queer people are just tripping. This is why she gets the heat and the smoke she gets. And if she think it means something to the people that hold her accountable, that she's being cut a check, bitch, we all live in well, ho. The fuck you mean, bitch? I push several cars up to the gas pump. Bitch, I live very well and have nothing to want for. I suck and ride good dick and fuck fat ass. I'm safe wherever I go because I make sure that I am. And I've cultivated and carved out quite an amazing and dynamic existence for myself. There's nowhere I can go, bitch. There's no part of the world I can't access. There's no motherfucking airport I can't push through If she think that the clapback is you get paid, yeah, and you're going to go down as a fucking clown, and that's coming from a bitch who got bozo colors in his hair. So don't nobody need to feel bad for Flame when she get ate the fuck up by her community, because as long as motherfuckers' lives and households are in a state of chaos as a result of the dominant society being convinced that they have the privilege and the wherewithal to project bigotry and abuse upon us, yeah, that's always going to be a problem, baby. Always, 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 all the time. Mm-hmm. Those imaginary ass queer people with those imaginary ass horrible lives will be right on the forefront, right on the screen, bitch, locked and motherfucking loaded to read her the facts of her motherfucking life. At this point, I'm personally not... I'm not invested because I expect this out of Flame. But just like she's going to continue to have an opinion, her community is going to continue to have an opinion as well. It's going to be two opinionated ass motherfucking parties, constantly and always behind the microphone. Like I said earlier, queer ass, grown ass people like me who are not subjected to my parents, who are not subjected to the ideologies of my family. Well, there are plenty of queer people who are. And this is why we have these conversations. And this is why we stand on the fucking necks of the dominant society. For queer black people like this young boy here. And he's only one of thousands living in communities and hoods and amongst ninjas. Subjected to their altar, subjected to their ignorance, subjected to their fucking fragility and lack of fucking identity. We do this for them. And I don't know whether Flame has or hasn't accepted herself. What I can say is she's carved out what she believes to be the easiest way to navigate the harshness of society, and she's not willing to sacrifice that by standing on truth and principle. She's going to hold on to that safety. And I can't even say that I'm mad at it, because like I said, it's birthed out of trauma. Her sucking the dick of patriarchy, her sucking the dick and throwing her ass to a misogyny and queerphobia is out of trauma. And that's why she clings to her safety and clings to acceptance as deep as she does, because she too is a product out of this rejection. She's a product of it too. Mm-hmm. She's not gonna tell dominant society the truth about who the fuck they are. She ain't bad enough and bold enough and revolutionary enough for those confrontations. Because she know if she tell they ass the fucking truth, she'll actually have to sacrifice and give up her comfortability for the sake of a greater way. But because she's a selfish, narcissistic buffoon, of course, she's not going to give that up for the greater good. She's in it for Flame, and that's perfectly fine. I ain't got no problem with that. Because I don't give a damn how much she can't stand the fact that her community is going to have a motherfucking opinion, bitch. I'm going to be right here to do it. Every single time, baby. Mm-hmm. So we all going to have problems. We all going to have motherfucking problems in the building. She ain't never going to stop having her feet held to the fucking fire. She ain't going to never stop being caught the fuck out. And while she's out here thinking that advocates like Hope Giselle are angry and mad as hell, etc., yeah, it's many reasons to be mad, but at least Hope Giselle is proactive in her anger. She uses her anger to get her ass out here in these streets and to rally behind Black people. And that includes Black queer people. Where the fuck is Flame in the fight? She's too busy trying to get in the club rather than to blow it to smithereens. So if she wants to participate in her own oppression, that's perfectly fine. But I guarantee you this, it's going to be a very interesting motherfucking day when the universe aligns things just in the right way. And she's going to be on the end of that totem pole. And it's going to be interesting to hear what the fuck she got to say when her day comes. God forbid it do, but the universe always has a way of teaching a bitch necessary wisdom. Always. So the interview was ridiculous as always. Rizza Islam got his life as he should have. He talked to the head coon in charge, baby. Okay. There was nothing redeeming or beneficial in that conversation for queer people, queer Black people at all. And it's just a shame. A scam and a goddamn scandal. Yeah. And I don't even mind Flame's rhetoric. But she always show up when the conversations are about the trans women who are not like her. And then she blames trans women for what happens to them. Oh, trans women just haven't loved themselves. They just don't love themselves. Girl, you don't even... You're trans... I'm not even going to say that. Like... Girl, see that.
Let me say this.
I'm gonna end up canceled, bitch.
Yeah, like what gets me is that like this whole love yourself thing. There are queer people that love themselves, but like you said, it's different.
Loving ourselves does not change society.
Right.
Plenty queer people who love themselves die because other people don't love them. Black people die at the hands of other motherfuckers because other people don't love them. Self-love does not protect you from perpetual fucking harm by external forces.
Right.
We can be an enemy unto ourselves, and that's a conversation. But then there's also enemies outside of ourselves that have nothing to do with what condition we're in with our own individuality or sense of fucking self.
Right.
Do you know how many Black women love themselves enough to divorce and leave the motherfucker who was abusing them in the marriage in the middle of the night, only to be murdered 13 days later because that person didn't love them? Do you know how many people did what was necessary to free themselves from hurt and abuse and had their abusers come after them? Self-love has never saved any motherfucker from outside forces. It's only self-love only saves you from the enemy in you. It don't save you from the enemy in another motherfucker.
Right.
Self-love only saves me from me. It don't save me from you. It don't spare me to you. So self-love don't have a goddamn thing to do with the danger that Black queer people are fucking in. So what the fuck are we talking about? Self-love.
That's the problem. She shouldn't be talking. She need to get her ass on the stage and tell jokes. You do your jokes. That's it. These real nuanced conversations, you stay your surface level thinking ass out of it. Stay out of it. You're not qualified at all. And
Morris Willow loved his woman enough to dignify her by loving her in front of everybody. And look at what he was met with every day. minding his fucking business.
Yeah.
That trans woman who got lynched loved herself enough to show up as a trans woman in this space, get in her car as a trans woman, go by her business in this world in her truth because she loved herself. And loving herself did not stop her from having 20 motherfucking ghetto ninjas kicking and beating on her.
Yep.
What the, in the words of Tina Turner, bitch, what the fuck love got to do with it? What the fuck self-love got to do with it, to be exact?
Mm-hmm. And because I literally just said this, but it goes back to what you said earlier. That's the reason why they like to they literally hold on to this idea that being queer is a choice, because it's a soothing tactic. It's for them. It's not for us. It's for them so they can feel okay and they can sleep at night knowing they did what they did, because in their mind they can rationalize it and soothe themselves and say stuff along the lines of this: you chose this life, now you have to deal with the consequences of that. It's a deflective, manipulative tactic just so they can sleep at night and they can continue doing what they were doing and not even bat an eyelash. And this is what I mean when I say, what is your objective? Are you, quote unquote, here to have a conversation and get an understanding? Or are you here to be queerphobic? It shows up in many different ways. You don't have to say the T word. You don't have to say the F word. You don't even have to even misgender, which is the explicit showcase of these systems. You can be very subtle in your talking points, very subtle in acting like you don't understand or know what the other side is saying. What? What do you mean? Huh? Who? What? Acting, trying to misconstrue talking points, leaving context out of conversation.
I gotta go, bitch. You better.
Okay, I'm gonna let it go. But that's the issue that be getting me. But yeah, I'm gonna end it right there because I already did a live on that whole Uganda thing. But
check out Reckless over on Instagram. He did a live on the Uganda shit, and that's just another fucking example.
Right.
If the world is queerphobic, if the world is free of queerphobia, girl, and queer people is just like living la vida loca, girl, why are they reversing marriage permits? Why are they canceling queer subjects out of school curriculum, girl? And why is it fucking global, bitch? Why is it literally against the law to identify as a same gender loving person and can be met with prison time and or the death sentence as a result, girl? If Lil Nas X being on the top of the billboard, girl, means that all of a sudden queer people are just free and loving the world, girl, what the fuck are we talking about? Why are there a trillion fucking examples of trans women getting beat? I remember there was a video on T.S. Madison that she played like a few years ago of a fight going on in the front yard between a man and a trans woman, and they were rolling around, and the man was getting the best of the trans woman, and there was a gang of dudes. Well, it was like 3 ninjas who was like pulling up on a fight. They thought the woman was a cisgendered woman, so they was about to intervene in the fight. As soon as they got up close and saw that it was a trans woman, that justified them not getting involved. And they almost mocked the altercation altogether and literally took their ass on over the sunset and potentially left that trans woman to fucking die and did not feel she was qualified to be saved or intervened on, even though she was getting the shit beat out of her by a ninja, all because she was trans.
And I also want to let this be known, Flame.
You are welcome, Flame. We love to discuss you, baby. Every interview, every TV special, every motherfucking joke, boo. You got it, girl. Okay, we get our life just as much as you get yours, girl. Okay, I make good coin, honey. Talking about you, honey. I get thick donations, honey. I had to shout out so many people since I've been here, honey. talking about you're special. So you are a gift that keeps on giving. But your talking points are trash, Flame. They just are.
You're trash. No shame.
We literally, I don't know how long you've been here, Flame, but we literally played clips of trans women getting jumped, getting lynched. We played clips of black men who had the nerve to love black trans women like you out in the open, get berated by their community. We played clips of black queer children getting the F word and gay carved into the side of their fucking heads by their parents because they were too feminine and decided to humiliate them. While you're taking to your platform to tell dumbass, hot dog face ass ninjas like Rizza Islam that the community is the problem. So did that black gay boy, put that shit back on the screen, Reckless, did that melanated child who was beat, slapped, hit, who had to be taken from the home thanks to productive trans black women like Hope Giselle, did he ask to be inserted into this ignorant ass family here? Did he ask to be same gender loving? Did he ask to be born to a fucking system and a society that's committed to not understanding him? And for you to sit your ragamuffin ass in front of Rizza Islam, for you to sit your tackhead ass in front of King Hotep and minimize the lived experience of queer people who do not have your privilege, who do not have your money, who do not have the adult right to go live how you want and not be subjected to said fuck shit, you still sat your ass there and sold your community out so that they could cut you a $2 ass check. Unlike some more, bitch, you're not even tap dancing for the highest grade of acceptance. Because they don't even give you the Netflix stage, boo. They give you the emergency escape staircase to perform in of the Netflix studio. They give you the after hours of the Apollo Theater stage.
When a janitor come in and be clean.
You're out here dick riding for a community that you said in this interview that you know if it came down to them and us, that they would sell us out first thing smoking. And you still sat your ass in front of a nigga who don't give a fuck about your existence, who do think you ain't nothing but a man in a motherfucking wig, and who gonna take his ass right to the voting polls at every opportunity he fucking get, bitch, and vote your ass back into the chains and shackles that your goddamn ancestors died to free you from. Just because he'll pull up, bitch, to a room of 20 motherfucking fans and watch you tell these tired ass jokes does not mean, bitch, he's gonna pull up to the voting pool and do the same in your regard. Have you heard Rizza Islam's politics? Oh, of course you did. That's how you entered the room, girl. You decided to agree to get into space. To get in the space. You a trans-mammy of top tier level. And bitch, you gonna be talked about every motherfucking time. And we're gonna enjoy it. I love being here. I love taking to Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Christian Mingle, Adam for Adam, BGC, Tumblr, Jack. Bitch, I love doing it to have these conversations. We ain't dropping the link, bitch. I like talking at Flame, not to Flame. I don't need a bitch gaslighting me with her fucking buffoonery, bitch. I sit in enough twisted ass spaces dealing with a bunch of indignant ass fucking mental minds. I damn sure don't need that from my own so-called people. Okay? And I told you she would be here, right? I said,
Yeah, I was gonna be here.
You know she's scouting, bitch. But you are dangerous. You're whack.
You're a piece of shit.
And it's a shame because when you say that shit, bitch, I want you to see what the society that you caping for did to this young black gay boy. I want you to see it, bitch, since you want to get in front of motherfuckers and tell them what the fuck we not going through and how we the ones doing too fucking much. He didn't put a pair of clippers to his head, bitch, and carve out gay. While you tap dancing and shoe shining, bitch, I want you to see it and see it very fucking clearly. Take it all in. So you're going to have your opinion and we're going to obviously have ours. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, boo.
Excuse me, Miss Betty Boo, aka Bridget Heritage. I do what the fuck I want to do. If I feel like cussing the fuck out of Flame, I will, and I'll also cuss your ass out too. So mind your business and stay your ass in the chat. How about you do that? Thank you. Fuck you and her. How about that? Because I said what I said.
No, but it ain't no conversation, girl. The conversation I already had. If Flame wanted a conversation with her people, she would pull up on her people to have the conversation instead of sitting in front of a goddamn misogynist and some patriarchal buffoon bitch who also is not contributing to the plight of black people other than simply fucking talking about it. If she wanted to have the conversation in exchange for her community, she got access to her community.
She has access to hope.
Those conversations would be happening over and over and over again. And we've seen her in conversations. All she does is gaslight the other trans men and fucking trans women. All she does is gaslight the other same gender loving women and fucking men. She said in the interview, I don't understand. I don't understand. If you can explain it to me in a way that I could understand it. But every time she's in a space with same gender loving queer people who are very educated, very well versed on the subjects, and instead of her listening with both those Martin Lawrence ass ears, instead she's running that fucking dick sucker, gaslighting. For a bitch who want to learn, she talks way too much to want to be a student. She could get in these spaces and agree with these fucking heterosexual folk and act like it's queer people who are disinterested in doing the education. When queer people take to their platforms, take the fucking panels, write motherfucking books, novelties, scholarly books and papers, littered with fucking education and information. And does she afford herself to that? No, bitch. And when you see her fucking communicating and running a goddamn dick sucker, bitch, all she's doing is talking at a motherfucker and telling them, well, I hear what y'all saying, but it's just not my. Okay, then. So then you can't say you're not being educated. You can't say you're not being educated. There are straight folk who got it. You are the actual phenomenon, bitch, and you don't get it? You really have the nerve to say she don't understand gender non-conforming. Bitch, you are gender non-conforming.
I'm about to say, girl, you the manifestation of it.
She don't understand non-binary. He, she, we is non-binary, bitch. Pick anyone or none of the pronouns. You have your whole existence is that.
Yes.
You get it. But you want to belong to these motherfuckers who want to hang you upside down, bitch, and singe off your titties. So if that is who you want to mate with and rendezvous with, bitch, you can have at it. We just here to keep calling you out on your fuck shit. But there's not a conversation to be had with people who don't want a conversation and who really don't want to be educated. Okay? Flame knows exactly what the fuck she's doing. She knows exactly what fucking time it is. And her time will come.
Yeah.
And when it comes, I'm just going to be curious to know what the expectation is gonna be when her time comes.
Girl,
Because
I'm gonna tear her ass up. No
the
shade.
universe folds them and closes them, baby. Okay.
I'm gonna tear her ass up, girl. Oh, bitch, I'm gonna let it rip, bitch. Oh my gosh. Ooh, girl, I'm gonna tear her ass up.
Flame is a bisexual trans woman married to a stud lesbian, but has sex with gay tops on the side. Girl, it's quite a reality. It's quite a reality. For her to be confused, bitch, if you can understand your own lived experience and then get out here and act like the language is the problem, bitch, you a trans woman who identifies as a woman impersonator who's married to a stud with a strap on who has sex in her ass with her male boyfriends as well. And also eats the cuda of the stud lit girl. And you confused. Oh, okay. You confused. Oh, okay. A trans woman who's married to a stud lesbian who fucks her and who she eat the pussy of and also rendezvous with men as a bottom unto. And you're confused about the curriculum.
The direct contradiction. That's the reason why we don't. And the thing is, like, that's the reason why I will never, ever give Flame fucking respect. No shade. I'm not going to. She's being intentional, and that's the reason why Miss Betty Boo need to keep her ass in the goddamn chat and stop addressing me. And I said what the fuck I said.
All of the education actually is to make individuals like her make sense to the world. And she's here clapping back at the language. The language literally is in place to inform the world about
you
individuals like her who have a very intersectional ass existence. And she's here crucifying the language and the education. The education is in place to organize multifaceted individuals like herself, and she's here talking shit about the language and the vernacular. I mean, talk about
ignorant
somebody who is against their own cause.
Girl.
I mean, talk about despicable. Talk about a coon's spiritual death. I mean, talk about a betrayer to your own cause. Talk about a traitor to your own cause. I don't give a fuck whether she's lived, stroking the strap on bitch. I don't give a fuck what she is. She better be live because, bitch, if it's any bitch who get that bitch about her chair, baby, it's me and Hope Giselle, baby. If it's any motherfucker who make who make that bitch get up out her seat, baby. But I don't have a problem with her outside of her talking points, but her talking points are a disaster. And they're terroristic. And they're ridiculous and hypocritical, and it's fucking weird. And for her to have been through all she's gone through, and then to be looking at trans women and calling them mad as if she don't know firsthand why the fuck black trans women would have more than enough to be mad at. And for her own lived experience to have been fucked up the way that it was. And that there ain't much that has changed between the world from the pussy popping ass world she came from and the pussy popping ass world that this current generation of trans women are in. It's wild. Wild. And once again, bitch, I said what the fuck I said, and I'll add more motherfucking to it before I take it back, Hope.
I ain't taking it back.
Before I take it back, bitch, I'll add more motherfucking 200 because this was light work.
Girl.
I'm actually feeling good, bitch. So I ain't even go in the way I the way I wanted to, but it is what the fuck it is. It's just an opinion, right?
Stop being sensitive, right?
It's an opinion, right?
Why you going live, right?
Right?
But I thought her generation was tough. Why she going live for?
It's just our thought, right?
Everybody's entitled to one, right?
Everybody's entitled, right?
Girl, fuck her.
It's only constitutional, right?
Right.
Aw. Girl, any final thoughts? I got a fucking live stream I gotta get to.
The only final thought is that I want to see what's gonna happen on Mad Day. What's gonna happen when Flame is gonna be the one in trouble. I want to see, are people still gonna be by her side the same way they are? I want to see if things are gonna change up, and I want to see her try to make things make sense. That's it.
All right, girl. Well, we said what the fuck we said, right? I want to thank y'all.
Wait, one last thing, because I meant to say this earlier. Betty Boo, I don't give a fuck how tough, how tight you and CTV are. I said what the fuck I said, and that's it.
Oh, God. On to the next, y'all. I'll see y'all in 5, bitch. Have y'all remind us set, girl. We got to get into some things, honey. Fuck Flame and Rizza Islam, girl, with a big penitentiary dick. I said it, right? Bye.